All right, we're back. Okay, it was getting a little warm in here, so I had to turn on the fan. I hope that's not picking up too badly on the microphone. Okay, so we're back at the choice we were given, which is, do we believe Richard? Again, I might add. It's a weird choice. You know? On the one hand, I kind of want to react emotionally here. Because that's what, when it comes to Halsey, that's what Leysha does every time. And also, Richard says that that Leysha loving her daughter is her illness. Remember, all vampires from Malkavian clan have a sort of illness. So I'm wondering here what's going on. And I wonder what I should do. Like, it totally, logically, we've seen patient reports that make me think that Halsey and Leysha are not actually mother and daughter, but rather that Halsey is... Well, we've had various theories, but we know that that he said he had changed the way, like that one of them couldn't cope with the truth. And I mean, everyone says that Leysha is dangerous. So, if she can't cope with the truth, if she feels like if her finding out what the truth is, then of course even now Richard will not tell her. He will still make her believe, oh yeah, she's your daughter. But that, might be a half-truth. We did find the report where I think Richard said he'd killed Halsey. And at the time I wondered whether that was, psychically, if he kind of had eliminated the personality in Leysha's split personalities or something like that. And then we found out, no, there is actually a physical person. The thing is, we know all those things, so logically, I would say it's probably best for everyone to believe Richard. And he also said, because one of the possible theories we had was that Halsey was a child turned into a vampire, and that she then fed on her mother, like her mother let her feed, and was accidentally turned during that. Another option was that Halsey was a vampire child, and they gave her humans to feed off. And Leysha was one of those humans who got accidentally turned again. And then finally, of course, there is the option of Leysha was the first vampire who turned Halsey, but didn't so Leysha was the first vampire who turned Halsey unintentionally, and so she would feel guilty for doing this to a child, or maybe Halsey even was her daughter, and she would feel guilty. But we know that Richard wrote in one of his notes that he's made them believe that he was the sire of one of them. You know, but there's many thoughts, but in the end, you know, if you consider that Leysha is a vampire now, and that the immediate threat is the Second Inquisition, then of course it's kind of short-sighted to destroy Richard, because he is helping and he's, I guess, part of some plan by Hazel. So that would make sense. Also, he has kept Halsey alive and has kept her fed. I mean, it was in a tiny room in the basement of a psychiatric, in the basement of that red room, or what was it called? Red Salon. I always want to say red room like in the Marvel stuff. Weird, why do the subtitles spell red in all uppercase? Weird. Anyway, so right now I'm thinking, like, he's not making himself a friend with Leysha by saying, you know, everything is more important than Halsey. I think in the end, Leysha does everything for Halsey at this point. But it's definitely, so, you know, like, if we are given this choice a second time later, I think Leysha might not let him live, but right now I think it's too short-sighted. I mean, he did go with them when they took Halsey, and while that might be knowledge, who did we play as when we went into Hazel's room? Was that Emem? Was that Leysha? Was that Caleb? I think it might have been Leysha or Emem. I don't remember. But anyway, yeah, it makes sense that you know, we know that he reported Halsey as dead to Hazel, so that part of his story checks. This might be out of character knowledge, I don't know. But right now, I'm just leaving it and using it. I'm just using all knowledge, I think. So I think we'll let him leave just so the vampires are safe, because if the vampires aren't safe, then, you know, Leysha saving Halsey, if she can pull it off at all, will probably, you know, it's a short-term win for a long-term loss. You know, Leysha understands that much. You know, if the world is destroyed, then what use is it to, you know, so yeah. So I think we're letting him leave.
I'm going to find my daughter, and we're going to leave.
After everything I've done for you.
I never want to see you again. Do you understand?
Where will you go?
I said never, Richard, because I won't hesitate next time. How could I have been so blind?
Oh. That's the priest guy. Is that Olsen? Was that his name?
You must know where Halsey is.
Yeah, it's Olsen, and this is Olsen's key. Okay. That's all we can do with you. Robert Houdini. Huda? Who is this? Found the source. Telepathy? Is that Boris Karloff? Up there? This is something I should recognize, I think. Suggestion distance. Dernier mot de l'occultisme. The last word in occultism. Something plus ultra? The plus ultra? I guess they're just, yeah. Robert Houdin, Paris. Théâtre. Oh, it's his theater. And I guess he's hypnotizing people or something. I'm not sure what that is. That in the upper left? It looks a bit Rasputin, you know. And the colored one, I can hardly make anything out, but it looks a bit like it might be Indian stylistically. And here on the right, is that a witch being burned or something? And the guy in the lower right also looks familiar. Oh, this is going to annoy me. They left the pens open. The markers. The caps are lying separately. Those bastards. Is there more to see? No. Okay. CSSML, NDSMD, CSPB, Don't know if that's something we should know. It's also interesting that he managed to hide the boss's office and nobody noticed.
I'll make them pay for what they've done to us all.
Is that... I guess that's supposed to be his parents. That way they don't have to be embarrassed. And try to do a real person. Because all the photos in this game are real photos, but the characters are of course stylized. So it's a problem having characters in-game in photos. Since ancient times, there have been engravings, tales, and songs that tell of communication through the mind, of magical and supernatural powers performed using the mental faculties. But it wasn't until 1882 that Frederick William Henry Myers used the term telepathic hallucinations to speak of the phenomenon by which an individual's mind influences that of another. Myers based his work on a handful of observations, which were quite convincing, made in France between 1825 and 1850. The researcher laid the foundations for the experimental study of telepathy and the paranormal more generally. I learned from Monsignor that the Society of St. Leopold owed many of its advances to his work. Therefore, I am going to carefully study his works in order to support my theory of the telepathic symptom at a certain stage of the evolution of the infection in blank bodies. Okay, so he kind of figured out that some vampires have telepathic abilities. Oh, now I get a Tremere concoction. That's nice. It wasn't there. Ah, here.
Shit. They were going to torture her.
I came close, but I admit it was too risky. My hands are still shaking. We captured a child. At least she looks like one. As she was being brought back to the base, restrained by the security protocol, some people showed, I can't describe it exactly, strange sensations. I thought she might be a telepathic specimen, and Monsignor agreed to let me interrogate her under strict security conditions. But before we could even get started, a soldier committed suicide right in front of our eyes, as soon as the child came out of the container. And she was still immobilized by the stake. It was beyond my wildest speculation. Okay, so she was still immobilized. That's... wow, that's a detail. That means she's really powerful. However, I am certain that she must also be suffering from a mental disorder, as per my working hypothesis. Here, it could be an anxiety disorder, the confined space, the interrogation equipment, the soldiers close to her. She sensed their stress and surely their hostility towards her. If I had known, I would have put in place a more appropriate protocol. The Monsignor and the senior staff decided to take her down and put her in isolation while we find a solution, in order to keep the staff safe. I hope to get the chance to study her again. Alright.
She's a child of Malkav. What have they done to her?
Reference C21, Michelle Davis. Operation Nest, satisfactory condition. Agent Olsen is handling the case. He suspects a BB Type 4 with telepathic abilities. The subject underwent Agent Olsen's mental conditioning protocol for an initial 3-hour session upon arrival. As instructed, the subject is given a 1-hour mental and physical conditioning session every 2 hours. The initial results are encouraging. The subject is frightened when we approach. That doesn't sound good. Anything else? I think that's all we can read. He has a few organs here. What was that? The agent was arrested for grinding his organ in public?
Infamous bitch to whom I'm bound, like the convict to his chain.
You, who, like the stab of a knife, entered my plaintive heart. You, who, strong as a herd of demons, came ardent and adorned, to make your bed and your domain of my humiliated mind. Infamous bitch to whom I'm bound, like the convict to his chain, like the stubborn gambler to the game, like the drunkard to his wine, like the maggots to the corpse. Accursed, accursed be you. I begged the swift poniard to gain for me my liberty. I asked perfidious poison to give aid to my cowardice. Alas, both poison and the knife contemptuously said to me, "You do not deserve to be freed from your accursed slavery." Fool, if from her domination our efforts could deliver you, your kisses would resuscitate the cadaver of your vampire. Baudelaire. Okay. I was first thinking if that was written by... what's his name? Corvus. I'm confident that my theory is correct. Some are able to enter the mind and have done so since the dawn of time. Whether they are called mediums, magicians, conjurers, I'm sure that they belong to the world of these monsters. That's an interesting view. I don't actually know if that's the same in the pen and paper RPG. It would be the kind of thing they would do, that they just say, oh yeah, all the famous mediums and you know, mind readers and things like that are actually vampires. I mean, that would kind of make sense. On the other hand, it's also cute if it's their misunderstanding. You know, because you know, there is magic in the world of Vampire and the Masquerade, and there are vampires and werewolves. So it could just be that, you know, telepathy is one thing that exists, and it just happens that a bunch of vampire clans have that ability. You know, it's, they kind of inherit abilities via the vampire blood, the clan, and so the bloodline, and so it would totally make sense that if the first of their clan had that ability, that they could hand it down the generations. On the other hand, I don't think... Well, it's... I think, like, mesmerizing a human is the thing that vampires can, to a certain level, all do. But it could still mean that it's just, you know, all the clan ancestors had it. had that ability. This leads me to a second hypothesis. Not all of them have the desire to hide, and the strangeness of many of them leads me to question the sanity of this subcategory. Through direct observation or the accounts of those they have manipulated, the majority of them exhibit characteristics very similar to our own, as if the infection only added monstrosity on top of a stable human mental state. Those who seem to have telepathic abilities, on the other hand, appear to be more contaminated than the others, afflicted with a variety of mental illnesses. Perhaps this is an advanced stage of whatever ailment is eating away at them. Perhaps they all end up with their flesh consumed and melted away, as I saw in Monsignor's notes. Boston is a great opportunity for me to confirm my hypotheses about this. Monsignor has promised me first shot at certain interrogations, with adequate acoustic and physical protection. You never know with these creatures. Okay, yeah, he's definitely a bit off here, because there are really young Malkavians, you know, who have mental abilities and things like that. And there are also really old, I don't know, Ventru or something, who are still generally human, you know? I think the main thing in this universe is that they're, you know, at some point they lose their humanity. But these abilities, they get stronger with age, I think, as far as I remember, but they don't, like, they don't get uglier with age. That's just, you know, they're a very young Nosferatu will already look horrific.
Submissive and blind. Just like a mortal.
Agent Emmett Olson. We spoke at length with Monsignor Stanford upon his return from Boston, and he informed us of your interest in joining our order. The situation in Boston does indeed warrant exploring the possibility of expanding our presence in your region. However, you must understand that being a member of the Society of St. Leopold takes precedence over any other commitment. This entails self-sacrifice, perseverance, and discretion on your part. Monsignor Stanford will be returning to your region and has been granted approval to ordain you as a novice. You will be placed under his authority for the duration of your novitiate. Itaque ingressus lucem. That means, like, this way light comes in, or something like that. Okay, so Olson was a fresh new guy. Here's the thing, I don't want to leave this door, through the door. Okay, we've read that already. Because I'm afraid that there will be a cutscene. I guess we can try this. Okay, so they said only operatives. How does an operative look? Although I guess we know
That's not standard procedure.
that she's downstairs, right? So if we feed from him now, we kill him. Can we feed from anyone else?
How am I gonna sort this?
copy any of these uniforms.
There's nothing in the naming system. I knew it.
And he's not an operative. Oh, wait, can I completely forgot we still have Olsen back there. Can we copy his? No. Well, I guess looking like a novice would be a bit standing out. He's not really an operative. The question is, what should we be wearing? I guess we can't go back out, can we? No. Okay, so we don't have another safe room, really.
How am I gonna sort this?
So either we kill him or we use the concoction.
There's nothing in the naming system. I knew it.
I think just because these people weren't accessible to us before.
That's not standard procedure.
Okay, and we don't pay extra. Oh, that's good. So we can switch back and forth between uniforms we've already copied. By just scanning them again, it doesn't cost us anything. That's good. Anything we can...
Some backup at last. I was hoping for more. The officers had to go deal with some crisis. They left us to deal with this mess.
Have you seen the girl they brought back come through?
Yeah, I saw them go by. They took her container down 10 minutes after they got here.
Down where?
No idea. I'm just in charge of filing their reports, not making them. Come on, get to work. With all these transfers to catalog, it's gonna be a while.
Okay, so I lost my opportunity. That was kind of weird. It had like the infinity sign as if I could keep speaking.
Sorry, I still have to archive these reports.
Let's see, is there really no way?
I could have done without surprises like this meeting.
So if we want to go down there, we need to have the name of someone.
If they're blowing themselves up, that's good news for us.
Cassie Hansen and Captain Collins won't really be much use for us.
With all these transfers to catalog, it's gonna be a while.
Nope. No agent name attached to that file either. Where did we see the name of an agent?
That's not standard procedure. How am I gonna sort this?
I don't really... see if there's Sender Corvus. FL... whoops.
There's nothing in the naming system. I knew it.
Right. Oh no, that was anticoagulant, not assistant.
How am I gonna sort this?
I think I might have to just try and go down and see if that works out.
They had time to plan it all.
Oh, that's supposed to be projection. Ah. I was thinking like this is a weird look. Since we don't throw a shadow even when we're close. What did you already find Rehalsey's location? We found that she's kept in the basement 4
Nothing in the naming system. I knew it.
labs. And that her number is C23. So I think we have all the information. But I'm also thinking that I will need another name for the next security check.
That's not standard procedure.
And I don't think we had any notes or things here that contained anyone's name.
How am I gonna sort this?
After the assignment, a crisis to manage. We're barely treading water here.
Well... Well, Agent Hansen is dead. And I don't think we can become any of these. Well, what the heck? Let's just go downstairs then. I might regret this.
Hang in there, sweetie. I'm on my way.
Okay, that was the end of the mission, I guess. You entered the base without getting caught. You let Richard Dunham leave. You made the traumatized soldier talk. You found Halsey's transfer file. You entered the war room. You could have taken Troy Collins' identity. Who the fuck is Troy Collins? You could have found a confidential file. You could have listened to a recording of Emmett Olson. Oh, okay. Interesting. I have... Like, with most things, I had like, oh yeah, that's this area that we never went into. But this time, I don't even have a clue where I could have found this. So the recording of Olson? No idea. Confidential file. Maybe there would have been another file number somewhere. But I don't really know. Troy Collins? Oh, Troy wrote that. Right. That his name was Troy, you're right. Okay. So that's not something we really missed. Although, you know, here's the thing. We found a way in, we pretended to be someone else. So that's fine. We didn't actually, like, I didn't actually find the button. I don't think I ever got the option to take someone's entire identity instead of just their uniform, which is a little weird. I don't know what I'm doing wrong there, if I just didn't read the text right, or if I need to spec more points into that ability. I didn't see like a ability that was inactive, at least. But I guess that's, at this point, not bad. If the game starts taking decisions from previous chapters and bringing them back in later ones, we might be in trouble. Because, you know, we're here with someone whose shift has already ended. Alright. Continue. Oh, next we're Emem. Despite the unforeseen obstacles, Emem, Galeb, and Leysha have all managed to make their way into the enemy hideout. After making her way to Long Island on her own, Emem must infiltrate the depths of the base to upload the program that the prince has given her. The court's safety depends on it. Alright, now here's the thing. I think I'm gonna want to spec into technology, and it actually, that's free. That's nice. And actually speccing into security, the first point is free as well. I wonder what these modifiers, where those come from. Like, is this modifier a skill of the clan? So if you're Toreador, you get 10 points free and things like that? We can get those two for 5. Just to help us break some ties. No, wait, that costs 60 now, but this one would be 5. Okay, let's first look into disciplines. What do we have on offer? Premonition, Scry the Soul. That's the aura thing. That would cost us 100. Celerity options available in dialogue. Celerity dialogue options? What would that mean? What is that? Link generates 1 less thirst or hunger. That would be kind of useful. Scapular demand. When one of your when one of your actions increases the risk of an opponent's focus, the increase is reduced by 30%. Silver Tongue prevents your opponent from focusing a skill. So we could do that for 70. So we would have 65 left. Which means no matter which one we pick, we can... I mean, I'm generally predisposed, you know, to the abilities that let you talk someone into doing what you want without having to fight and without having to, you know, do anything like that. I'm kind of tempted to... Well, actually... So far we haven't really run into problems with focus. You know, we haven't had the situation where we talked to someone and it said, hey, they're focused, and that's why you can't convince them. We've always had, like, not enough blood and things like that. So... when one of your actions... These are both focus related. And I don't know, premonitions so far seemed not very useful. Aspect's vision reveals the aura. I might go with that, even though we also have that with Caleb. Or we go for blink generates 1 less. I think I'll go with that. None of the other... I mean, celerity dialogue options, I don't know what these would actually be. Okay, let's go with that. And now let's see. We have 45 available. We can spec into intimidation, into persuasion, into psychology. We could spend 20 on here. These are 30. So we only have 1 skill to choose. I would want to spec more into rhetoric, but I don't have the points for that. So either I could leave those 45 points lying around for next time. I mean, security is only 20 points. I keep hearing celery, so don't ask me whether it makes sense to have a dialogue with it. It is me, Captain Vegetable, with my carrots and my celery. So here's the thing, we're infiltrating something, so I kind of want, and we're uploading a virus, so I kind of want technology, and I want security. That kind of sounds useful. On the other hand, it's also helpful to convince people. Let's go. I think I'll go with security. And then we have 25 points left, so hopefully if there is another level up afterwards, then we can actually go and maybe spec into something like rhetoric. I would need 60. Alright, here goes nothing. Alright. Sure. I think this is a budget thing. Like, why would she come out of the water and be dry? Like, okay, maybe magical spell. But it would have been kind of nice. I know that they can probably not, you know, do a complete, we'll give her a scuba diver outfit and have her take it off or something. But, you know, you could do this cleverly. Like, you could do... Like, you could have done it with, like, backlit, so, or, you know, shadow play. They could have just drawn a little animation of, you know, someone... You know, it doesn't even have to look like clothing, basically. They can take the naked character, basically, so it looks... like she's wearing something, you know, skin-tight scuba suit or something. And then could just in the next... you know, could have just brought up that character, maybe with like a little, you know, like knob with a hose, like diving gear. Well, she doesn't need diving gear, but you know, just something that makes it look like some sort of cap or something. Just come out, then maybe pull it off, and, you know, see the shadow throw it away and show like a splash of water or something. Those are things that they can probably, you know, they have this water already. So, like, doing a little splash animation here doesn't have to be an, you know, a very detailed one. And doing that little shadow of the character, I guess the biggest problem with her would be You know, taking off the cap and having the hair come out realistically. Because that requires some animation work. But I mean, what they could have done is something like have the character come out in shadow. You know, just basically the naked model with like a little bump on the head so it looks like she's wearing a cap. And then just show the hand throwing something misshapen away and the sound of a splash. That's really all that would be needed. And then you show her like this. Just, you know, in regular clothes and completely normal. And dry, especially. But, you know, that would have kind of been enough shorthand to indicate she came here in a diving suit and that's why she's completely dry. Okay.
Come on, Emem. You get in there, find a computer to upload that virus to, and get out. You got this.
You got this. And oh. The door lock is broken.
Looks like a badge reader. It doesn't seem to work.
That's the... Ah, okay. How fortunate. The entrance we used.
A lock system. They can come here by boat regardless of the tide. Smart.
Huh. I don't quite get... Oh, does that mean, like right now, where the tide is low, they can arrive with the boat, close the lock, and then let in water? Because if the tide goes any higher, you're not getting through any of these gates. So it has to be a lower tide. And then raising the ship up, no? I don't quite get it. Okay, but conveniently, I don't know if one of our, you know, if someone damaged this for us, or if this is just a huge coincidence. Can I? No, I can't. That's the character sheet, not crouch.
It's enormous. Come on, Lewis. Get a hold of yourself.
You know, I should have said that, but when we arrived here as Leysha and walked around here, I looked at this yellow stuff and all the ladders and things and thought, oh yeah, this... if we now had celerity, that would be really convenient to get across, you know. And also, I wonder if the fan and that door up there is for Emem. I always forget that this game doesn't let you... Oh, thank God, this multiple jump way is free. Well, the rest of it. Okay. So we could walk along there and then probably go over there. But let's see what's down here first. There's another fan. It's also interesting because it's obviously the same place. But it's, you know, it's a different map again. That's, you know, usually... Basically, I'm admiring the budget they have for this. That basically all of the individual quests are in roughly... like few of the individual quests are actually reusing the same map. And it's just, oh, I don't have the abilities I used with the previous character.
I see some marker, but you can barely make it out.
Lock gate to be done no later than 4/22/2018. Cause: circuits burned out due to submersion. Tide. Exit closed until serviced. See some marker. Observe in detail. We're going through blood here.
There's something else. On the ceiling. That's weird. I see some marker, but you can barely make it out.
On the ceiling.
They're worried about high tides.
All right. So we could pick this lock. That's 6 willpower. Wow. Seems kind of weird that lockpicking is related to willpower.
Lewis, it's Saul. We're here, but I don't see Iverson. Where the hell is she? I thought she was supposed to get here first.
She should be there soon.
She'd better.
I'm sorry, Saul.
Ouch. I don't like this. Oh no. I thought, you know, like... I didn't think we'd have like a walkie-talkie with us or something. But it would be, you know, really... And I thought there would just be one moment where we see, okay, the attack is starting, and then we see the results of our screw-up. That's where we came... No, this is where we came from. Okay. So we could go up there and back here.
An electronic lock. With a code. Rafa could help me unlock it. Rafa, are you there?
What do you want?
There's some kind of lock that's stopping me. A big box with buttons. Looks electronic. Any ideas?
There should be a ring on it. See it? Push a little piece of metal under it. It's an old system. These things are easy to short circuit. Anything else?
That should do it. Thanks. Over. Piece of metal.
Okay. We basically contacted the police chief about our parking tickets, but, you know, I mean, the computer hacker and lockpicking. Oh.
That should do the trick.
Paper clips. It's a piece of metal. I'm an idiot. Were they interactable before? I think they might have been, and somehow I just skipped them. Okay. You know what would be a fun idea? To take more modern security measures and put them in cases of older ones, and, you know, take the known exploits and make them actual alarm triggers. So that if someone takes this lock and goes, oh yeah, you can just put a paperclip in there and open it that way, then they will immediately know, oh, someone tried to crack it.
Yeah, that was easy. When you know how to do it.
Okay.
It looks like it works with a chip. I can't open it. Oh well.
Kind of interesting. You know, I like how they force you through the different paths as a different character with different approaches. So like with Galeb, they basically offer you the devices that you can put your implant, that you find implants, you use one, you apply them, you make your way through that way. With Leysha, it's like, oh yeah, you have this vampire magic ability to just pretend you had a chip. Whereas Emem doesn't have anything like that. Like, how do they go in there without knowing anything? But then Emem gets the social aspect. She gets to call Rafa, which, keep in mind, depending on how that quest had gone, that chapter had gone, I might not have Rafa. So, wait, let's have a quick check. What would be up here? Okay, so I guess I could zip over there. So I guess the default is basically celerity. Oh, we could listen to these. But I like that. It's kind of... You know, it feels... I don't know how to describe it. It's not that... You know, in some games are way more subtle about this. This game is kind of like... You know, here in this game, it feels more like... like they're cutting off limbs than giving you a new sense. So like, why can... You know, all these characters kind of have the same abilities, but also kind of not. There's just some that are locked out. Which, you know, clan abilities and all, lore-wise, it does make sense. But, and so that you can use celerity for most things that nobody else can, that makes sense. And I also like that here, finally, the whole, you know, club owner, good with people thing of Emem makes sense. And so that she would be listening to people. I mean, we had that option in that other room as well with Leysha to listen to someone. So it's not totally specific to Emem. and that she would be not as much using her own abilities and instead, calling in Rafa, calling in Saul. That kind of thing actually is kind of nice. It's kind of the whole Zerg Rush idea, if you get what I mean. I think it's StarCraft. Isn't it? Where you have like these different species that you can play as, and most of them are like small groups of units, and you build them up and you make bigger and smarter units and things. But if you use a unit, if you lose a unit, that's a big hit for you. So it's kind of important. And then there is the Zerg, which are basically a hive. And there, it's less about building specific units and more about quickly building up to a whole lot of units. And that's a completely different strategy than all the other factions that you can play as. And I find that fascinating from a game design point of view. And I've actually, my pet peeve in one game is they should have taken a page out of that book. Small detour. Let's just, wait, wrong button. This one. Okay. So, here's the thing. This looks cool with this background. Star Wars The Old Republic. It has 8 class stories. 4 Dark Side, 4 Light Side, or rather, 4 Empire and 4 Republic classes. And one of the classes is the Republic Trooper. Most of the other classes are kind of superhero people. So, and by superhero, I mean, Marvel, not just hero who is great. You have Sith and Jedi who are, they have Force magic abilities. You have 2 classes on each side of those. You have the Jedi Knight and the Jedi Consular, which are, like, the Knight is more the melee fighter, and the Consular is more the diplomat. You have the Sith Warrior and the Sith Inquisitor, where the Sith Inquisitor is more like, for example, lightning or something, more the sorcerer abilities, and the Sith Warrior again is more melee. And then you have the Imperial Agent, which kind of mostly works with subterfuge, and you have the Mandalorian, what's it called? Mercenary? No. Basically, it's Mandalorians. It's a class. It has a slightly different name, but Bounty Hunter. That's what it's called. Sorry. Yeah, so you have the Bounty Hunter class. And on the Republic side, you have the Smuggler, of course, so Han Solo, and you have the Republic Trooper. And now a bounty hunter, they have like all sorts of like flamethrowers and machines and weapons and things. So you can kind of say, okay, if you're kind of a one-man battle tank, an army with lots of weapons, you might be able to go up against Sith. And, the problem in an MMO like Star Wars The Old Republic is that as the game goes on, your stories converge. There's fewer and fewer people playing the higher up levels of a character, because that's just how it goes, you know? People start playing the game. There's a lot of people at the start, and then there's a drop off. It's always like that because people just don't have as much time, or people then realize, okay, it wasn't quite what I expected. So there's always a drop off in games. That's nothing unnatural and not a big problem or anything. But yeah. And so that means at the end of the game, there is basically one storyline that every character, no matter what class you play, goes through. But at the start, you have 3 huge chapters that are specific mostly to your class, and that's amazing. That's unique in most games, because most games have like one chapter that's unique, and then it's already kind of the same, maybe with a few, you know, like dialogue choices or slight side quests that are specific to each class. But, you know, it's just a budget consideration. Fewer people will play the back end, so it doesn't make sense to design, you know, to pay 4 times for 4 classes, or 8 times in this case, if most players are not going to play it. You're investing in content most players will never see. So of course you improve the starting experience or something. And for the stuff in the back, you go for endgame content like, you know, multiplayer, player versus player, or co-op matches, where it's the people that play together more than people play the game, and you keep that one story going. And so the problem with that is that makes sense. The story doesn't always make sense for every class. So for example, the Sith and the Jedi, those 4 classes, no problem, you know, if the story fits one of them, it basically fits all of them. The Sith have to be kind of given the opportunity to make some evil choices. The Jedi have to be given the opportunity to do more good choices. But since in this game you can also play as a dark Jedi, so make dark side decisions as a Jedi, or play as a light Sith, so make light side decisions as a Sith, there's not that much to vary. You could they still have 2 separate stories for Republic and Empire, and it's mostly the same planets but the opposite side of the same quest, which, you know, makes it really cool. But that's it, and that totally makes sense. They could even merge it into one story and just exchange the quest giver to be either, you know, protect these people or attack these people, and then just swap out which characters are the mobs and which characters are which NPCs are the you know, just bystanders you have to protect or something. Anyway, went way out here. Okay, long story short, really long story short, shorter. Many of the stories don't fit that well. So for the Imperial Agent and the Republic Trooper in particular, it feels like a regular soldier, you know, those white armored soldiers that you know from Star Wars, shouldn't be able to go up against a Sith, even if it was an elite soldier, you know. And on the other hand, with the Imperial Agent, it also shouldn't work, but you can kind of change it so so things work as sorry, lost my train of thought here. But you can kind of rationalize it by giving the Imperial Agent a chance to use subterfuge, you know? So make them go up less directly against people, have support, things like that. And for the trooper, the storyline is you are a trooper putting together their squad. But the game is built so you have one player and one companion. So you barely, like usually, you do not go out with your entire squad. You always pick one of them. And I've always thought that this is a missed opportunity. What they should have done is they should have built it so that the trooper gets their entire squad to go out with them. So more than one companion. But these companions are of course weaker than, you know, the companion of a Sith warrior or something would be. And that way you have basically, you have the firepower of, you know, like one Jedi Padawan or I don't know, of another Jedi next to you. And you yourself kind of have the power of the Jedi, but we're not going to acknowledge that in story. And so basically the idea would be that you would be like a little team of Zerg, you know, as the trooper. That the trooper is just a lot of smaller units, whereas all the others are 2 bigger units. And that way it would feel like a squad going up against a Sith, and it would also work lore-wise because the Sith is still an overpowering presence, but you know, if you have an entire squad of soldiers against you as a Sith or Jedi, then it's going to be a little tougher. So, you know, it's kind of acceptable if you have, you know, like 5 top soldiers, then they can take down a Sith with some work. But one soldier and another soldier against a Sith with possibly a companion, that kind of sounds unrealistic. You know, it's a fair fight, and that's kind of, in a fair fight, a non-Force user should not be able to win against a Force user. That's just how it works. Of course, if you then think about, oh, they're planning to merge the storyline towards the end, they've now gotten to a point where you can get the companions of that you would get from another class. So basically every class story has you acquiring, I think it's 4 or 5 companions, and then every and you know, that's it basically. And then there were a few companions that you could like buy in the money store or something like that. And then with the expansions, they gave you, with some of the expansions, they gave you extra companions. And of course, everyone got those. So at that point, if you are getting a Sith companion, for instance, it kind of would be a bit problematic if you could get that Sith companion and 4, you know, or 3 even, you know, like the player, the Sith companion, and then 3 of the smaller ones. So either you would have to say, well, the companions have different stats if they're coming along with a trooper, or they would have to say, well, you can either take along 1 full companion or your full squad as, you know, quarter companions. So yeah, that's a bit of a problem. Oop. Okay, back to small Uli. Sorry about that. But how did we get to Zerg? Oh yeah, because that kind of... I like that kind of... making the mechanics subservient to the story and expressing parts of the story in the mechanics that you choose for a particular character. And so Emem is kind of this Zerg queen, you know? You can... In the previous mission, we managed to recruit some people like Saul and Rafa. And if this keeps going, you know, that would be cool. If she can just call someone and say, hey, help me out here.
4 digits? Should be fine.
If you're not sure, just look up at the ceiling. I left a note for the day shift in case.
Thanks for the tip.
No worries.
Oh, okay, that ceiling thing is a code that's somewhere. You know, if I end up over there and look up there and find that the door code is printed on the ceiling, and I could have, as Leysha, just walked through there, I'm going to be really grumpy. Ah, that's what you were getting to. She's a swarm. Yeah, kind of. And I think that's a cool idea. If they... I don't know if they're actually pulling it off here. But that would be a cool way of varying your characters. To have one character that is a swarm. You know, a think tank, something like that. And then to have another character that's just, you know, alone for themselves. The lone wolf, the tank that just walks through. And then you have the character that is, you know, stealthy, the shadow, that just avoids all combat. But like the swarm idea would make such sense for Emem. Oh, here it says 0158. It's also a bit disappointing. Like, this is one of the alternate solutions, I guess. So I've wasted 2 drops of blood on this observe in detail.
I see some marker, but you can barely make it out.
0158. 0124, 0322, 0276. So the question is 0124 here relevant, or is it something else? Well, I've noted it down. Oh, I wonder if that would have been the door lock. If the combination was 0158 and I didn't even have to call Rafa for it. That could be what that just was. So maybe I wasted 4 drops of blood. I hope it'll turn out that it's something later. Oh, what's this? Club business cards. Okay. Interesting that they just left their wallets there. 8805. 50 kilograms. Okay, that's not a door that opens. Oh, okay. That's where we are. Okay, so we don't need to blink over here. Oh, and now this box is open. How convenient. Push button to turn on off the fan blades. That's a bit in your face. So we can jump down there.
There's got to be another way.
Okay. So that's the only way, it seems. That doesn't seem like the smartest idea. Okay.
Administrative section. I should be able to find a computer here to upload the program.
Special operations area. Okay. There's another box to turn it off, but it's on the wrong side. Okay.
Emem,
I hear you, Saul.
they know we're here. We managed to hide, but we're not gonna hold out long.
Where are you?
Inside, south wing, or west, fuck, I don't know. Where is Iverson?
She's on her way. I just radioed her. She's coming.
Tell her to move her ass.
Oh.
That's not good. We can go down, or we can blink across. The blink doesn't really look too promising. Do I want to? I mean, there's a red door over on the left. I think it's not really useful to go over there. Again. Administrative area. That looks like it's, that might be above where we were.
Somebody's down there.
Easy. To think a little girl can do something like that. It's unbelievable. Right? Tell's family yet? No, not yet. They're waiting till after the alert, I think. His wife expecting a third? I know.
That was a cool little moment, at least. And kind of tying together the missions as well.
Easy does it. Stay behind me. I can hear their hearts beating beneath their armor.
They'll taste them soon enough. Not if they spot us.
Okay, those are the gangrel. Interesting. That's a nice way to tell the story. It's kind of... I guess that's what's premiered by Half-Life. To have these, you walk past the glass window, you see events happening there, and then you go on. You know, which is kind of nice from a... That's some light. Administrative area, wing B and C. Administrative area, wing A.
But the protocol...
That wasn't a question, Thorpe.
Okay, I can look down there. Interesting area. Do I want to look down there? It doesn't cost points. It might cost me the level.
I have orders not to leave this office.
Then stay here.
Sir, please, the blank body.
Was captured. Stanford is interrogating it now. The situation is under control.
Right, fine, I'll go with you.
There's no need. I can manage on my own. You stay here.
You... as you wish.
Go on, split up. What have we here? Why isn't it working? Shit.
I told you I wouldn't be long.
Not a word.
Thorpe! Jeez! You're one of them, aren't you? A blank body. What do you want?
I need to put something on your computer. I tried accessing your network, but it's not working. Why not?
I don't know.
Tachoscopy, meaning viewing from the walls, is a recurring narrative strategy in ancient Greek literature. Yeah, like looking across a wall or something. Yeah. I mean, it was there as well. But like Half-Life, I think, was the game who kind of, brought story into shooter games. Before that, there were games with story, which were usually text or something. And there were games with mechanics and kind of the mix and showing that you could have a shooter that tells a story as you go through. That's a totally normal thing today. But I think Half-Life kind of did that more. Like before that, you had story at the level of Doom, which was, here's a premise, that's why you're being sent out to shoot people. And then here's an ending scene, and maybe there's like, I don't even know if there's any scenes in the middle of Doom. But basically, it's just you have a premise, and you have the wrap up, yes, you won. Or, hey, you lost. So, that's what I kind of like. I'm not sure if we'll convince him I won't hurt him since we killed the officer. Let's try it.
I'm not gonna do anything to you.
But you killed Thorpe.
She was armed. You're not. Are you?
No.
Then you're not a threat. Tell me what the problem is, and I'll leave you be.
All right. Why are you doing this?
It's better you didn't know.
Listen, it's simple. You need to go all the way down to the server room. That's the only way to spread your thing.
Tell me how to get there.
You need to take the intelligence elevator and go all the way down to the bottom floor. I've told you everything I know. Can I go now?
And there's Marathon that contains a whole novel. Yeah, Half-Life is practically ancient literature. Yeah. I mean, Marathon... I'm trying to remember when Half-Life and when Marathon came out. I don't actually know what the exact timeline there is. I kind of... The original Marathon is always kind of like somewhere shortly after Doom in my head, but I'm not sure if that's actually true. So, you know what? You know, I'm procrastinating here. Let's have a quick look up and see. So Marathon, maybe game, because Marathon is a city and lots of things. So Marathon released in December 1994, and then Doom game. Wikipedia. Doom was 1993. But yeah, and Half-Life was a good bang, and Half-Life is 1998. So Doom was first. A year later, Marathon. But now keep in mind, the story in Marathon is not told in cutscenes. I'm not even sure if there are any cutscenes in there. I think there's like screens with like pictures and text saying this is what happened before in a vague way, but I think that's about it, what they did in Marathon. But then of course you find these terminals with lots of text story to read, so they were definitely the first ones that kind of added a good chunk of story to a shooter that, you know, increased every level. But Half-Life was the one to then go, and you know, that was 4 years after Marathon, 5 years after Doom. Cut screenshots. Yeah, more like cut screenshots. Yeah. Yeah, but, you know, that's kind of what they... like how this developed. Half-Life was the one that actually gave you cinematics, in-engine cinematics, and also sometimes, you know, like the whole NPCs walking towards you and telling you things outside of a cutscene. You know, in Marathon, the closest you got was the Bobs, the born on board people running at you and going, what was it? They're everywhere! Something like that. I'm not sure. There's like... Should I spoil Marathon here? I guess most people are probably gonna not play that today. If not, you know, look away for a moment. Mute me for a moment. Anyway, in Marathon there's two kinds of Bobs. The real ones and the fake ones. And the fake ones will run at you and explode, and they have a different voice line. That's how you tell them apart. Okay, that's it. We're back in the regular content. No more spoiling Marathon. But you know, that's why I wasn't sure about the voice line. All right. Actually, I'm seeing the clock and seeing that it's 9, which is usually the time we end. So I think we'll have to make these decisions and then hope that we get to a point where we can end. Do I want to ask more questions? Here's the thing. if I let him go away, chances are big he'll chances are big he'll rat us out as soon as he feels he's far away from us. So I'm not sure I can let him live, even though I've told him as much. And I mean, he works for an organization who has killed a lot of vampires now. So I'm not sure I can let him live. But on the other hand, I want to get my questions answered, I think. Just because I like lore. It'll cost me 3 points though, I hope we'll find a place to feed soon. Because if I need to blink to some place new now, I don't have enough anymore.
I need you to answer a few more questions. I'm on a very important errand. It's way above your pay grade. You have to help me.
I can tell you're right. What do you want to know?
The party. I know somebody sold us out. Who was it?
I don't know. But the informant wasn't working alone. I heard they had an accomplice.
What? Got a name for me?
No. Nobody knows who it is. They just send us intel. That's all.
What do you have on us?
Lots of stuff. Profiles, names, sometimes even addresses.
Your snitch sure was busy. So then, you know who I am.
No. Your face isn't familiar.
Interesting. So she's under the radar so far. Or he's resisting.
What am I gonna do with you?
You promised you'd let me leave.
So, usually it really feels bad to me. Like, here's the problem. I know he's probably going to die in this attack anyway. So, it's not that super nice to tell him, what went wrong. It's not... he won't benefit as much from surviving as he might think. Of course, if I let him live now, he has a chance to survive. That's true. On the other hand, also, if someone finds out about this, they're going to go, okay, this Emem person promised to let someone live, and then killed them anyway. So you cannot trust anything she says. Which, does damage to your reputation. So, that's a bit of a problem. Like, if we get caught later on during this mission, and we promise someone, we'll be peaceful, and he says, well, we found that guy you killed, that's going to be a problem. On the other hand, if we let him live, and if we let him leave, so what am I going to do with him? It's a really good question. The music is nice. But yeah, what do you do in such a situation? Like, I'm a good person. I want everyone to live. I don't like killing anyone, even in games. But the question is here, is this a matter of, you know, kind of preventative self-defense? Do I know he will get me, you know, I can guess he will get me killed as soon as he is done, so I'm tempted to go that way, even though it might bite us later if we have to negotiate. But I guess it doesn't work.
Sorry, but I can't take that risk.
What? But you said...
What can I say? I lied. It's not
Also,
the first time.
We've done worse to Saul. What was that? Traitgern, merciless. Oh. I wonder... Like,
I can't do anything with that. Damn it.
Oh, what's this? A premonition. But I don't have blood. It's kind of pity that they didn't get us the choice. Feed off him. Shane Duncan, status active, 36 years old, from Detroit, Michigan. Mr. Duncan has a bachelor's degree in physical education from the University of Hartford. He was also captain of his school's soccer team. He served 5 years with the U.S. Marine Corps, 2008 to 13. Excellent reviews and recommendations from his superiors. Divorced, no children. Pays a monthly pension to his ailing father, who still lives in Detroit. Private Shane Duncan is an excellent asset who is disciplined and able to adapt to any situation. He has a high tolerance for hostile environments. However, he can be violent when pressured. He has previously sought help from our psych unit. Cassie Hansen, status deceased. Deceased, not diseased. 32 years old, from Atlanta, Georgia. Daughter of a U.S. Army veteran, Ms. Hansen trained at and graduated from West Point Military Academy. She served 5 years in the U.S. Army, 2010 to 15. She's a veteran of the conflict in Afghanistan, single, no children. Private Cassie Hansen is a vital asset to our division. She's resilient and determined and possesses great mental strength. Her background in the U.S. Army and her performance in the field make her an ideal candidate for a position with more responsibility. She has previously sought help from our psych unit. Update: Cassie Hansen was killed in the line of duty during Operation Burrow. Steve Sato, status active, 32 years old, from New York. Grandson of Japanese immigrants. He attended Columbia University, where he earned a bachelor's degree in applied physics. Mr. Sato served 3 years in the U.S. Army, 12 to 15, before joining the SAD in 2016. Married to Adela Palomo, 2008. He has one daughter, May, born in 2017. Private Steve Sato is a reliable asset who has repeatedly demonstrated his abilities in the field. He is disciplined and a good team player, however he exhibits a high degree of sensitivity in operations involving minors, especially since the birth of his daughter. He has previously sought help from our psych unit. I'm not surprised that in this job people need help from the psych unit.
Just entered the administration wing. What's your status?
Uniform, Daco. The intruders are in the B wing. We got 2 men down. Hurry up!
Copy that. November is already on the way. Go, go, go!
Okay, so Saul is doing her job.
The oldest archives date back to 2018. They've been investigating us for over a year. How could we have missed that?
So, I need the special elevator. Interview Roshan Singh. The candidate has demonstrated sound knowledge of a governmental system. He claims to be a team player acquired through his involvement in sports associations. His physical condition is satisfactory. It appears he has no criminal record. The recruitment process has started. Mr. Singh will be invited back soon for a second interview. Okay. Meeting with Mr. Lovelace. Video call New York. Conference in Nashville. Okay. Whoever Mr. Lovelace is. Okay. I think that's all here. And that door won't open. This might be a slight problem. Oh, we can jump back up. Okay. Okay. I think this is a good point where we can stop for this stream. Yeah, that was cool. That was interesting. I really enjoyed that today. Like, I'm feeling a little tense with all these infiltration things, especially since this is not a stealth game. Like, not in the, you know, you can't crouch and hide and pop out and kill someone or something. Although, you know, the pop out and kill someone thing, it's not really something I need, but like, you know, Assassin's Creed is what I've played on this stream a lot. And I gotta say, so you know, being limited in my interactions, basically having to run around and not having spots where you can hide if you goofed. Totally makes sense. Totally makes me uncomfortable, actually. But anyway, yeah, this was good. Hope to see you all again. Let's push this button. And I actually, yeah. So yeah, we're done for today. That means we'll be back next week, 4 hours from now, a little more, 4 hours 15 now. We will be resuming this game and taking Emem to throughout the rest of this level, and I hope we can get all of our little vampires out alive, or at least wiser about their life or something. I don't know. Like, I don't like that we use the anarchs as cannon fodder. So I'm kind of hoping that we get some chance to make up for that. Either, you know, by saving the anarchs somehow, or I don't know, you know, maybe Emem gets a chance for a sacrifice or something. I don't know if she would do that, though, you know, because I think I said that before, like, you know, to become a vampire, you need to have, like, a certain selfish element in you. You need to want to live forever. You need to want not to die. there has to be a goal why you're taking this up. You want power or you want influence, unless you've been, you know, turned against your will or something like that, which is also an interesting story. So, yeah, I'm kind of wondering what we'll end up experiencing here, but I don't think Emem, you know, if it was not about Emem surviving, I think Emem would save Saul, but that's the difference. You know, so we'll see what choices the games gives us and what choices we've blocked for ourselves by picking the wrong skills again and again. But we'll see. Oh, and maybe this is a good point to mute game audio and see if there's anyone left to raid before we actually go. Let's see. Okay, I think I'll just leave you because the persons I would want to raid are actually currently playing games I still want to play. So, nope, not sending you into spoilers. Okay, thank you all. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for chatting and telling me fun things and facts, things like that. See you again next week. Bye-bye.